Yes.
So Becca, when we started this infodump files journey, we talked about, at the end of each episode, our dedication to Inside the Actor Studio, a show that we both are big fans of. And
Yes.
so we created Inside the Autistic Studio, the 11 questions at the end of each episode. And one of the questions that really has surprised me in terms of the answers from our guests
Right.
is when we ask, what are your pronouns?
Yeah.
Now, with neurotypicals, I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to be a little funny with this question. But when we're talking with autistic folks, I thought that they would be maybe more comfortable with sharing their pronouns, or maybe even understanding why we're asking that question. But while I've loved every single one of our guests, we've definitely had some strange, or maybe I would say discomfort answering this question.
Yeah, or it's just like it was an unexpected question almost to a lot of people. I find that interesting too, much like the cursing question, which a lot of people also struggle with. Doug and I are just all about pushing buttons anyway. We're not going to stop asking these questions. Anyway, but we asked that question and also had some surprising responses to that one too. And so I think that's interesting. Why I think it's really interesting coming from our community is because we know we have a plethora of folks on the spectrum who deal with the gender issue all the time, right?
Yeah.
And so we're one of the first groups, I think, other than outside of the LGBTQ community, that really uses pronouns in that way, right? Really actively. Many of us throw it on our LinkedIn profiles and such, right? Yeah. So I was really surprised in the same way you were that it wasn't just an automatic response. That's your last name,
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And so it's interesting, right? So, but I think we need to keep asking it because that just continues to show that growth needs to happen everywhere. It's not just, right? And how slow it can be to happen. But I think we should still keep asking it. I am a she, her. What are you, Doug?
I am he, him, his. And I think it's important to continue to ask for sure, but I think it's an important question because, as a cis male, that puts me in that specific, when we're talking about gender, that puts me in probably the most powerful category,
Yes, including your
privileged category
as well.
Yeah, exactly. So
you just have all the power, Doug. What would you like to do with your power today?
I think it's important to realize what our privilege is. We all, every human does have certain privileges. And being aware of those things, and hopefully, with the autistic community being a marginalized group as it is, and gender being a factor of privilege and power, I think it's important to, I don't know if normalize is the word.
Yes, that's the word I was going to use too.
Okay.
So normalize. Yeah, like normalize us asking, right? It's awful that it's one of the things we assume about people, right? We assume it and put it upon people in the same way that we do that with functioning labels, right? And we assume that and we drop functioning labels on people too, right? And it's better to just ask, right? And to do what's respectful. And so I think it's just interesting. And I'd like to see more people doing it on more podcasts, actually.
Yeah.
Are you saying you like to see more people like write their pronouns? Oh, ask the question of what is your pronoun?
Yeah, like ask that question, right? It's a respectful question. Yeah. And so I hope we see more of it, because I think if we see more of it in that way, more people will get used to doing it. And then it's like that kind of thing. But let's get to you guys, right? I'm super excited for our guests today because these guys to me have some of the coolest jobs, first of all. And then they have this really cool twinness about them, which you guys will know, but they're also roommates, which makes it even more interesting. So and they share also doing advocacy. They both share that they are advocates. And so I think that's so fascinating, and I'm excited to talk to them. And they will talk to us about their pronouns because it is something that they deal with on a regular basis, right? And so let's get into it. Let's get to your questions.
So I saw a cat in the background. So am I to believe cats are a special interest of the two of you?
Yes, we have 3 cats, and yeah, and I mean you know cats are autistic,
Yes.
right? Yeah, so I feel like they're on my wavelength and very easy to communicate with, and that's my mundane superpower is that I communicate with cats very easily, and yeah. Oh, he left. He was showing off. Yeah,
Do you guys have, okay, so now that you guys out in the world know why I secretly like them really a lot because they love cats too, right? But do you guys have cats of your own? Like, are one of the 3 your particular cat? Like, it's human and that's it?
yeah. So Marissa, if she comes through, she's a big black cat, and so yeah, I adopted her a few years ago, and so yeah, she's basically my cat. She comes up to me and lays on me and treats me differently than Burnett. And then Burnett's cat Sasha, she once got us confused though. One time, I went to Burnett's apartment. This is years ago in a different state, but I went to Burnett's apartment but no one was there. I was there to use weight or something, and then I was leaving, and then she started asking me to go upstairs, and I guess maybe to feed her. And I felt really bad because I don't know where the food is, and it's not my house. I just said, Sasha, I'm not Burnett, and she didn't believe me. but yeah, we all live together, and the cats don't confuse us at all. Yeah, I adopted Sasha almost 10 years ago, and yeah, she's definitely my cat, and prefers me, won't she'll perk up and eat when I come home from work and all that. It's really hard to feed her. Yeah, I work from home. I'm home all day with her, and it's just really hard to get her to eat. And then she just starts eating. Yeah.
Yep. That's what it is. Like every cat has their person, right?
Yeah.
They share space with you. Now, I have 6. So I have a few of mine that have chosen me and sleep on my head and such. It's a little cramped. But that's what I was curious. I was like, they have these cats. And so I have to bet that the cats have picked a person, right? And so it's really interesting though, that when they decide and how they choose and all of that. So, but yeah, like I've had some surprises. I had some of my cats kind of ditch me for my husband, and I've had some of his cats ditch him for me. So it's been interesting. But yeah, I think it's so fun that you guys share that in common and that you have the cats around. So yay. Yeah. Are they all rescues?
Yeah. Well, interesting. William, he's actually no one's cat. He just loves everyone. That's true. Yeah. So William, like, we sit in the other room and watch TV at night or movies or whatever, and he comes in and he says hi, and then he'll poke me and then want me to pet him, and then he'll run over to Burnett and do the same thing. So he's very much with everyone. But yeah, the Mercy and Sasha, we adopted them at different times from shelters. But William, I was on some next door that is too much for me. But I was on there and someone said that like her mother-in-law had died, and they were gonna send the cat to a shelter. And just like too much trauma for like he was only 1 year old. Like you lose your person and then go to a shelter. So then he came here. Was that last 2 winters ago? No, it was last winter. Oh, never mind. It was the winter before last. Yeah, okay. That's confusing. Yeah. So he's a rescuer, but he didn't come from a shelter. But he was gonna go to a shelter. Yeah.
Oh, you saved him. That is the saddest thing ever, you guys. I'm just gonna put an announcement out right now. If you want a cat, the best cats to go get are the senior cats at the shelter. Usually they were somebody's cat and that person passed away and they are now at the shelter because the family didn't take them. So go get them.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get them for free even because they're seniors.
And black cats. Marissa's a black cat. And part of the reason is I adopted her. Well, I mean, she was the nicest cat and she was the fluffiest. But she was they were also saying that black cats don't get adopted. And that was I just heard, and William, I realized they were disadvantaged or something. I connected to them or something. I don't know, but yeah, I feel like I need to rescue them or something. Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you for letting me talk about cats for like 5 minutes. Go ahead, Doug. What's the next question?
Well, Becca was talking about the two of you having interesting jobs. For the people that don't know the two of you, well, what do you do?
So I work in flavor chemistry. and I've been doing that for just 2 years. And there's yeah, I make flavor compounds, primarily liquid flavor compounds that that are used for commercial applications. So food and drugs and cosmetics and stuff like that. And yeah, I make the sweet flavored compounds. I work in confectionery.
This is fascinating to me. I could talk about this forever. I just think it's so Willy Wonka. It's so awesome.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, yeah. It's very joyful. It's joy. I find it joyful, but it's because it's creative chemistry, and I had a chance to use my you know how people typically talk about our heightened sensory perception associated with autism. Typically, it's seen as a deficit, so it's sensory processing disorder. But in my work, it feels it's an advantage. So it's beneficial because I have to. I'm memorizing. I'm memorizing all kinds of molecules by their scent and their taste, and yeah, my heightened sensory perception it helps me to categorize information in my brain much easier. Yeah.
So do you have like a really good palate for food as well in general?
Yes, and it's something I didn't realize until I started working in this industry. That I taste really well. Yeah.
Awesome.
And I realized I didn't think about it ever because I don't like to eat. I like the taste of things, but I don't feel hungry most of the time. So I just don't think about food much.
Really interesting. All right, Bernard, you're up.
Oh, so I guess my main thing is the main job I have is teaching, but that's almost over because I've been teaching for the last 5 years as part of my PhD program, and I'm done with my PhD as of like last week or a week and a half ago, I don't know. But so I teach creative writing and academic writing courses. I think I mostly enjoy teaching academic writing rather than creative writing. Probably because I creative writing is like the main thing that I do. I'm a writer. But I'm also I prefer publishing, and that's I have been working in publishing various editing jobs for I guess 8 years, and I didn't even realize that I was doing it. Some of them were volunteer, some of them were paid, and I work now at the Tahoma Literary Review. But I had a therapist who told me to get on LinkedIn a year ago and to make my account, and I realized that the same time I've been teaching as all that time I've been having an editing job at the same time. So so now that I'm transitioning out of academia, I'm applying for publishing jobs. I really like books. I just really like books, and I want to be around them.
I think that's awesome.
The interesting is it took me so long to realize that we want to work with books.
Well, I think you have to, when it comes to like any industry having to do with writing, you really have to get into it to know that there are jobs in there and what those jobs are, right? Like until you get into wanting to publish a book, you don't really understand the publishing industry, right? And you don't really know what people do in there. And so it should take some time.
Yeah.
If you take the time to pick your thing, you pick the right thing, and you don't have to switch. And so I think that's awesome. But because also as a writer, I struggled for a long time. I can't do creative writing. That is my biggest challenge. And so I love academic writing, and I love because it has such nice structure and there's such particular rules to follow. And creative writing doesn't have that. And so I wonder if that's what the appeal is in terms of teaching, if it's more straightforward to teach academic writing.
Yeah, it is. And I realized ever since accepting autism and learning more about autism, teaching writing is, instead of lecturing, it's active learning. So there might be a day out of the week that I'll spend lecturing, but a lot of times I'm talking with students, and I'm realizing that I probably have like 4 or 5 neurodivergent kids per class. So then I'm realizing that the creative mind of a neurotypical is just something that I don't understand. But yeah, teaching these rules in academic writing is much easier. It's much easier to teach because academic writing is more formulaic, right? In my own writing, I don't really stick to a particular genre. I just do whatever I want, whatever I need to do. So
Mhm.
like obviously I'm writing fiction, but my dissertation, what I recently finished a novel in stories. So it's the stories, the individual chapters of stories, they stand on their own, but the
Mm.
book as a whole is a novel. They're just linked. Um, so I just don't think traditionally at all. So I think it's hard for me to, and I think when you're teaching, a lot of times when you're teaching creative writing, you have to teach, and you're teaching it to beginners, you have to teach some kind of traditional way, some kind of like really structural, formulaic way. And but I don't believe in that when I'm teaching creative writing.
Right.
When I'm thinking about creative writing, I think about whatever my intuition is telling me to do. I'm going to do that, no matter what rules I break. And so I can't teach that for some reason. They
Right.
they don't understand what I'm saying. But when I teach academic writing, I can really communicate with them more.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I love that you decided it's not for you. It probably has a lot more social to it than anybody thinks about, right? There's a lot of talking to people and helping them with their problems and
Yeah.
all of that stuff than people think about in teaching, right?
Yeah. And what I didn't know before was I didn't understand how all of my colleagues could teach. And because when the first couple of years doing my PhD is you like two years of coursework while you're teaching. So I was taking classes while teaching. I didn't understand how everyone taught and then went home and did their homework and then prepared their lesson to teach. How are they doing that without like passing out? Because I would go teach and then I would go home. It'd take me 2 or 3 hours before I could do anything. And
Yeah.
but I assumed everyone was doing that. So I didn't understand why they weren't. I was doing my assignments in late. I was writing up messy lesson plans because I was just so tired. I thought everyone
Yeah.
was that tired. But they weren't. Yeah, people. A lot of
Yeah. And
people.
so not a match, right? Can't sustain that long term. Thank you so
Yeah,
much. But I love that you found a way to still do like be involved in the writing world without the teaching component, which is awesome. I
yeah,
think that's
yeah.
really
Publishing,
a
yeah,
really great move for you. All right,
yeah.
I'm gonna shut up now. Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah. Bernard, I don't know if this has anything to do with writing whatsoever, but there is something that I believe that you're interested in that I'd like to learn about because I know nothing about it, and it's Robot League.
Oh, oh yeah, Rocket League. Yeah, it's just fascinating. I've been trying to get into video games for a couple of years, but I think it's my dyscalculia. I have trouble with technology. It just stresses me out. So Rocket League, Burnett introduced me to it because Burnett plays video games. It's you can jump in, you can get in and get out. And I never really liked sports, but now I consider myself a Rocket League athlete. It's a car. Do you know, Becca? You play in cars, and it's mimetic of soccer. So there's
Uh-huh.
so I like to play 3-on-3, and there's 3 on my team, and then there's people on the other side 3-on-3. And yeah, so you play soccer essentially. But I mean, the way you play it, the way I see it is my car is a body, and
Mhm.
but you can get in and out because the game's only 5 minutes. But I see my car as a body, and I see it as like a mixture of multiple types of games. So sometimes
Mhm.
it feels like tennis. Sometimes it feels like basketball. Like a shot can look like a layup. Sometimes I don't know why it reminds me of that. Sometimes it looks like what's that? Racquetball. Yeah. So I don't know. It's a way I can feel like an athlete without getting dirty and having to touch people and stuff.
While still being a writer. I can be an
Yeah.
athlete and a writer.
I don't have to leave the house or anything. I just switch apps. Before the
Yeah, I mean it's a good. I mean it's a way I do stuff like that and play games like that because my brain needs a break from my typical way of thinking. Like
Yeah,
and being so serious all the time. I need to
yeah,
do foolish, silly things sometimes,
yeah.
and it brings me joy. So I'm sure it brings you joy too.
Can you really just play it for 5 minutes and be done? I
Yeah, yeah.
Bernard can
Oh,
play it for 5 minutes and walk
oh,
away.
I find it quite. It's very exhausting. Like I get really hot and sweat.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's very fast paced and intense, and so I can only do like maybe 3 games the most before I stop. So 15 minutes. But yeah, it's something I used before the pandemic for years. We would go to the gym and play racquetball, and I'm paranoid about this pandemic. I don't care if people are wearing masks, whatever. I'm not going to the gym. So it's been like a replacement for that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It, but yeah, there is a danger. Well, I don't know. It's it encourages violence, which is one thing I don't like. So like if you run into someone runs to your car, you blow up, and I don't like That's unnecessary to me. But I also have the I'm asexual. I'm not gay. I'm just not sexual. But I use the gay flag, the queer flag, because it's the closest thing to asexuality.
Right.
I still feel a part of it. And but I also have BLM. You can have that in your name, like parentheses. So then that people get very angry about that. So then they blow me up a lot. But also when people start blowing you up, that means they don't, because you can turn on your ball cam and turn it off. So it's also great to distract them sometimes, because they're really hateful. That means they don't have their ball cam on. They're not watching the ball. They're watching you. So then you can just beat them.
Oh, I like it.
They're not paying attention. They're just too angry about you not being straight and not being white. They just so they
You were talking a few minutes ago about playing racquetball, and I've always been impressed by people that play racquetball, because it seems like the ball moves way too fast, and I'd just be like covering myself, like scared of this little blue ball would attack me.
Yeah. Well, there's also pink balls for high visibility, but I guess that's not your
what makes it scarier. I think you're talking about is. I think that's something I ever got used to. What happens is, I don't know if this is the case for you, but at first I was afraid of it, but then I started to see the ball as something I wanted. So then I started running toward it. But there were those times where I just scream and throw my racket.
Stuck in cover.
One time Bernard screamed, they screamed at the ball and then threw the racket out of fear, but also managed to score. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, but the last time we played, I broke my foot, and I'm not doing it. Every time I say or hear the word racquetball, I feel tension in that foot. So
the scoring doesn't seem to make sense to me either. I've never been able to figure it out.
I've forgotten how it works. How does it work?
Okay, so the goal is to get the ball back to the wall without it hitting the ground more than once. So someone hits the ball, it hits the wall, and then comes back towards you. It can hit the ground once, and then you hit it back, and it hits the wall again.
What?
And it can't hit the what? The ball comes to you, you hit it, and it hits the wall, and it has to hit that wall. It can't hit one of the side walls or the floor.
Oh, right.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
On its way back, it can though, right? Like on the way back, it's allowed to go. Right?
On the way back, it can hit anywhere.
So yeah, it's kind of like tennis, I guess. Where two people have to keep. It's like keeping a volley going.
But tennis has too many rules.
No,
that's why I like racquetball. That's why I don't like sports, because they have too many rules. Yeah, but racquetball doesn't have very many
That's
rules.
why I'm a swimmer. I really enjoy swimming. That's the only activity that I like, because I don't sweat, and I can't feel it. And then you're all by yourself and no one can bother you, and there's no rules. It's just what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so that's where I am, and in the athletic sphere of life. If I decide to get off my butt, that's
I have a question about swimming, because I don't agree, because the water just freaks me out. Just looking at it, I freak out. But I see it like in movies and stuff, people going to the pool, and it doesn't seem like they're doing anything. What do you do when you go to the pool?
Well, don't go to the pool unless I'm going to swim. So I don't know about people who just go to the pool and sit there.
Do you have a specific goal when you go swim, or like what is it?
Up here I do. So like I live right now where I live, it's so cold, really having an outdoor pool. Some people have it, but not really worth it. So I go to my high school, because I like having lanes and like an Olympic sized pool, so I can do laps. I just like to get into a zone and just like, that's it. And I just go back and forth. That's usually what I look for. So Olympic or half Olympic size.
I see. Yeah, I used to go running, so I can imagine you getting like just a state of flow.
Yep.
Or
Yeah,
just like swimming.
Wait, so what do you do, Doug, for athletics? Or
Well, running is definitely
okay.
Yeah, when I'm not hurt, running. Lots and lots of running, but swimming, I was always terrible at swimming, not coordinated enough. And I'm still not convinced on the racquetball. I'm still scared.
So see, I get hurt instantaneously at racquetball. Not just the speed, but the coordination and like the whole thing. That's why I like to swim, because there's nothing coming at me. It's just not happening in that way.
And but the pandemic changed exercise for me in a wonderful way. I used to run a lot, but then I experienced an illness. But um, but now I have an exercise bike, which you can probably see there. And so I don't do it anymore now because my knee's injured. But I would turn on I turn on videos. What do they call indoor cycling videos? And they record. Have you watched those? Well, you don't
No.
watch them. You experience them. But yeah. So people they have like maybe a GoPro in their helmet or something. And I never used go in America because the channel I go to, I forgot what it's called. But they're all over the country, all over the world. I mean.
Oh,
But
that
yeah,
must be nice.
I would just do that for 30 minutes, and it was just amazing because I wouldn't leave the house, but it felt like I actually went somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But then I also bought a mini trampoline, which is really great. Really, it's a lot of fun and kind of like Rocket League, where I can jump in and out of it in the middle of the day. Like if I'm stimulated or understimulated, I don't know. I can just jump on my mini trampoline.
Well, I think we've come to the time of the show for Inside the Autistic Studio, Becca's favorite part always. So we have 11 questions that we ask all our guests to end the show. So this is the first time we've asked two guests on the same episode, so should be interesting. I guess, so the first question is, I don't know, what are your pronouns?
They, them, theirs.
Oh, same day than there.
I don't have a gender.
Yeah, I don't really see myself as having one.
What is your preferred stim?
Oh, these noodle toys that I do, but I can't do them in public. So when I'm in public, I just I bounce my legs.
Yeah, I like those, but I also have dystonia radish cramp, so I can't use it as much. I really like my mini trampoline is really great too, because I stim all my energy. I feel like I carry my energy in my legs, and that's why I used to run like 7 miles a day like a few years ago. And I realize now that I was stimming a lot.
I think you're supposed to answer questions quickly.
Oh no, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Wait, are you supposed to answer the questions quickly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
In theory.
Fairly quickly, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot.
What is your favorite curse word?
Shit. I like to say shit show, like society's a shit show. Yeah.
That's a good one. It feels good coming out. Yeah.
Can I say it? What? I like nigga, but I don't see why that's a curse word. I think I not just like using it in like a friendly way. Like I think it's racist that that's considered a curse word because we're not using it.
Interesting perspective.
If you're not using it with the ER and you're not trying to harm people, and I don't think that white people should say it though. But I use it around the house, like as an exclamation, and then I see on TV that they're not allowed to say it, and that seems racist. Sorry, I'm still asking too long.
Who do you love and what are you doing about it?
Oh, I love Sasha. And,
Hi, Sasha.
Sasha is having kidney problems, issues. It might be kidney disease, not sure. So we're on fluids and going to the doctor.
Aww.
Oh, yeah, my cat, the cat. And I'm just trying to make their lives as easy as possible.
You may, so the next two are kind of fill in the blank. You may be neurotypical if.
You may be neurotypical if you believe your standardized view of reality is the only real reality.
Excellent.
Oh no, I don't think about that. I don't know. If you have a strong,
We can skip over it.
if you have a strong belief in social hierarchy.
True.
Yeah.
You may be autistic if.
You're the only person in the room not reacting to your emotions.
Well, if you don't have to try to be logical, you just are.
Yes. Nice.
Oh, I call it effortless brilliance.
It's true. When I'm real, I like that effortless brilliance because I think that's when I'm good at something or I have a strength in something and it comes to me easily like that. It does feel effortless, and then I feel guilty that I didn't have to work at it. Also,
I think that I did something wrong sometimes. I often think that I did it wrong. Like the first thought that comes to mind, I say, "Oh, that's wrong," and then I start looking for the right one.
What's something you want to learn or be better at?
I want to learn another language, and I'm not sure which one. I just feel like it's a responsible thing to do.
I want to learn to move seamlessly through my day without stopping, starting.
Mm.
What autistic social media account should people be paying attention to?
Oh, Christy Clark on, well, you guys, but I feel like that's not the right answer here. So, Christy Clark on LinkedIn posts a lot of really cool stuff that's helped me learn about me, my autism. So yeah.
I like her too.
Yeah.
I would say Amy Richards. She's not. I don't think she posts a lot on. Well, I don't use LinkedIn. I don't know if she posts a lot there, but I just think she has a really amazing podcast.
Awesome.
It's called Square Peg, and it's women and non-binary artists. And I like the way how she breaks it down into seasons, and like right as soon as she got releasing certain episodes for Autism Awareness or Appreciation Month. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
I don't know how people break their podcast down to seasons. I haven't figured that out yet.
Listen, I love working with you, Doug, but I cannot take it if we have to do that.
It'll be
I
season
just
one
have to keep
forever.
going and counting.
It's
One
just-
through whatever, 1,000. That's the
Season
best
one, episode 934.
Exactly.
I think you do perfect. It's perfect.
What's one thing in your routine you couldn't possibly live without?
Is this like a, well,
There's nothing to refuse.
oh, nicotine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm very dependent on it for concentration, and but no tobacco. I don't do no tobacco, no cancer stuff. Just the nicotine pouches.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow! I can't believe I just forgot that fast. Oh, morning meditation. Oh, okay,
Oh, nice.
morning
Yeah.
meditations because I literally can't function. I wake up in the mornings and I try to skip it or I just don't think about it and I think, what am I supposed to be doing? And I'll just sit around staring off until I remember I need to meditate, and then I go through it and then I come out and I can just start doing things. So morning meditations.
Dog, cat, or must I choose?
Cats are my way.
My people.
Yeah, cats.
Yeah.
My people.
What does autistic joy mean to you?
You know, I recently learned this from Johnny Profane when he was on Autism Stories, and it's so true. It's things that I did as a kid, and it's just as simple as that. So video games, playing with Bernard, watching movies.
Yeah, following your interests, just following them without concern about whatever else. A lot of people and things come and influence you and try to tell you what to do and what not to do, but just following those interests.
Was that all of them, Doug?
That was all 11.
Wow, you guys, I was like, we're gonna be there for like 2 hours doing, no way, you guys were awesome. I'm so excited. This was a really fun episode. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us. And is there anything or any way people can find you? I guess you're both on LinkedIn, right? If people want to get in touch with you.
I just do LinkedIn.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I have a website. It's BurnettGrant.com. But yeah, I use LinkedIn. Other social medias kind of freak me out.
I don't understand any other social media.
Yeah, temporary.
It's easy when you just stick to one. It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I think that's it for this episode, Doug. I'm excited because this is a good one. And then I know what's coming up for us. So I know we have some nice, really exciting guests coming up. And I'm just really glad we had this nice time together. It was fun.
Me too. It was fun. Thanks for inviting us.
I enjoyed it.